waste in Ukraine and the problem with kids these days. It's 5 in 10 from Skywatch TV. 5 things you need to know in about 10 minutes for Thursday, February 27th, 2025. I'm Derek Gilbert. Item number 5 today, Ukraine. The Epoch Times reporting that USAID, or USAID, U.S. Agency for International Development, repeatedly refused to allow investigators working for Senate Caucus Chairman, Doge Caucus Chairman, this Department of Government Efficiency, Senate Joni Ernst, to examine documents related to U.S. tax dollars intended to help Ukraine fight the war against Russia. When they were finally allowed to view those documents, it was, quote, under surveillance in a highly secure room at USAID headquarters, end quote, even though nothing they shared was actually classified. Investigators found millions of dollars of USAID programs, quote, in secret slush funds being used to funnel millions of U.S. taxpayer dollars into Ukraine for questionable purposes unrelated to our own national interests, end quote. In the words of Captain Renault from the movie Casablanca, I am shocked to find gambling going on in here. Oh, my winnings? Thank you very much. For example, the money that was sent to Ukraine, ostensibly to help Ukraine fight off the Russian invasion, sending Ukrainian models and designers to New York City, London Fashion Week, Paris Fashion Week, and South by Southwest in Austin, Texas. $300,000 each to a dog collar manufacturer and a company selling a pet tracking application. $161,000 for a purveyor of contemporary knitwear. $126,000 for a photographer for fashion design publications, and $84,000 to support a luxury bridal brand, $148,000 for a pickle maker, $255,000 to a producer of organic tea and coffee, $104,000 for an artisanal fruit tea company, and $89,000 to support a Ukrainian vineyard. Now, in the grand scheme of things, as far as total U.S. tax dollars spent in any given year, that's small potatoes. But if this is the way our money is being spent elsewhere, then Doge is doing good work, because this is just not sustainable. Topic number 4, the FBI. Donald Trump's FBI opening an investigation to former FBI Director James Comey in what was allegedly an off-the-books honeypot operation to infiltrate the Trump campaign, the presidential campaign, back in 2016. This being reported by Washington Times, said that the FBI, now under the leadership of Director Kash Patel and Deputy Director Dan Bongino, looking for those once undercover employees under Mr. Comey's direction. A honeypot is basically where you use a man or woman, attractive, to lure somebody inside an organization into your orbit and then getting them to spill secrets. Usually it's a woman who's used to attract a man. A whistleblower alleged that Comey personally knew and directed the operation targeting the Trump campaign in an apparent effort to find incriminating evidence of any kind of a crime that could then be used to open an official investigation. According to the whistleblower, the case had no predicated foundation, so Comey personally directed this investigation without creating an official case file. It would, quite frankly, be good to see somebody held accountable for the weaponization of the FBI, the Justice Department, and the intelligence community against the political enemies, the political opposition of whoever was in power at the time, which, that was Barack Obama and the Democratic Party. Item number 3, mass graves in Canada. There aren't any. They've been looking for 4 years now. Back in 2021, the Canadian government allotted about $320 million for a residential schools missing children community support fund, which was intended to investigate allegations that hundreds of children, Indigenous children, were killed and buried in unmarked graves by Roman Catholics and other Christian groups. These kids were sent to schools, religious schools, intended to westernize them, and then they died and were buried in unmarked graves. Well, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau even had a photo op taken at one of these sites, taking a knee, holding a stuffed teddy bear, looking very somber and solemn, and quite frankly, making it all about him. Well, the committee and the organization's entire existence based on the idea that hundreds of children were killed at residential schools or allowed to die and then buried in these unmarked graves. 4 years later, the funding has now been pulled because after 4 years of searching, no remains have been found. Now, I'm not saying fewer than expected. No, I'm saying zero, as in not a single one. No remains have been found. Of course, that didn't stop people from protesting, rioting, and burning dozens of churches to the ground in protest over what has now turned out to be fake news. Topic number 2, kids these days. According to a new report, 6 in 10 employers say they've already fired some of the Gen Z workers that they've hired fresh out of college in recent months. This is reported by intelligent.com, which is a website, a platform dedicated to helping young professionals navigate the workplace. They surveyed nearly 1,000 U.S. leaders and found that the class of 2024 and the shortcomings of the class of 2024 will impact future grads. Because after experiencing a whole bunch of problems with these new hires, employers are saying they are now more reluctant to hire college grads again, recent college grads anyway. I guess that's good news for old guys like me, but still, 1 in 7 bosses admitted they may avoid hiring kids just out of college altogether next year, which is tough for kids who graduate from school with an average of $35,000, $40,000 in student loan debt. Employers say the biggest problem is lack of motivation or initiative. About 50% of the leaders surveyed said that this is why they just found things did not work out with these new hires. Lack of motivation, lack of initiative. Bosses also point to these new employees being unprofessional, disorganized, having poor communication skills. The fact that many of them had to go through college during the COVID years, remote learning certainly didn't help. More than half of hiring managers have come to the conclusion that college graduates are just unprepared for the world of work. More than 20% saying they just cannot handle the workload that they're expected to take on. Now, to be fair to the class of 24, I was hearing complaints like this almost 30 years ago when I hired in as a sales rep for a steel pipe company. Heard it again 20 years ago when I hired on as a sales rep for a structural steel company. So it may not be necessarily a new thing, but we are now seeing a generation coming out of college who've been going through school with the idea that grades don't really matter, completing assignments on time really doesn't matter, spelling doesn't matter, citing your sources doesn't. Even in courses like engineering, where math is sort of ish instead of, we are not preparing these young people by really by expecting them to excel in their schooling. Coming up, the media. The media has suddenly realized that Joe Biden wasn't all there over the last 5 years. That's next on 5 and 10.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you can support the ministry of Skywatch TV and our continued efforts to share the gospel of Jesus Christ throughout the 4 corners of the world and receive your very own copy of this urgent new work when you order the Rungs of Disclosure special offer. Not only does this incredible opportunity include L.A. Marzulli's new book, Rungs of Disclosure, but it also includes the Hybrid Age MP3 audio series on CD featuring Dr. Thomas Horn and Steve Quayle. But that's not all. Right now, this special offer also includes the legendary Official Disclosure MP3 audio series on CD, which is a value of $35 all by itself and features Dr. Chuck Missler, Gary Stearman, Michael Heiser, and so many more discussing the topic of alien activity all around the world through a biblical lens. Sold separately, these items hold a retail value of over $80. Yours now for your donation of only $45, which includes free shipping to all U.S. orders. But for a very limited time, you can upgrade your Rungs of Disclosure special offer to include the entire 10-DVD UFO Disclosure documentary series. Purchased separately, all of the items in the Rungs of Disclosure special offer with upgrade to include the entire UFO Disclosure 10-DVD documentary series would cost you over $280. Yours now for your donation of only $135, which includes free shipping to all U.S. orders. You can scan the QR code on your screen right now using the camera app on your phone for instant access to this special opportunity. You can also visit us at skywatchtvstore.com or call 1-844-750-4985 and ask for the Rungs of Disclosure or the Rungs of Disclosure with UFO Disclosure 10-DVD documentary series upgrade right now.
Item number 1 today. Surprise, surprise. Another big name in cable news has suddenly just forgotten, and hoping that you'll forget, that he spent the last 5 years pretending that Joe Biden was just as sharp as he ever was. Jake Tapper of CNN, Jake Tapper, anchor for CNN, the most trusted name in cable news, thought it would be a good idea to write a new book now investigating how the media covered up for Joe Biden's obvious mental decline over the last 5 years, after he spent the last 5 years covering up for the obvious mental decline of Joe Biden. The new book, titled Original Sin. Back in 2021, former Obama White House physician Ronnie Jackson said the reason Joe Biden had been avoiding cognitive examinations is because he would have failed, and his team knew it. And basically, you don't ask questions that you don't want to know the answers to. So Tapper wrote a book investigating why the media, which he is part of, covered up for Joe Biden's cognitive decline. Is kind of like Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass promising not to travel internationally and then traveling internationally to Ghana for the inauguration of the president there just before the wildfires broke out in Los Angeles. And now she's investigating her own staff to find out why nobody stopped her from breaking the promise that she promised not to break. Oh, sadly, in the words of Joe Biden, come on, man, not a joke. This week on Skywatch TV, we continue our discussion with L.A. Marzulli about his new book, Rungs of Disclosure, Shapeshifters, Demonic Oppression. Yeah, I mean, the UAP phenomenon, that's one thing, mysterious lights in the sky, but those who believe they're being contacted or abducted by extraterrestrials, that's a whole nother thing. And that's why we were blessed to have Vicki Joy Anderson, author of They Only Come Out at Night, as part of the panel to discuss all of this. Don't miss the programs. You can watch it right now over the air. Our broadcast schedule posted at skywatchtv.com/channels. Of course, you can catch it right now over our set-top box. If you've got a smart TV preloaded with Roku or Amazon Fire TV, or if you got Fire Stick, Roku, Apple TV, add the Skywatch TV channel to it. It's free, and make sure that all of our programming comes right to your big screen. You can also watch it over the internet, Skywatch TV, or rather youtube.com/@Skywatch Television. Subscribe, share, click the bell for notifications, and hit that like button. Also, rumble.com/Skywatch TV, or download our free mobile app to your smartphone or tablet. Again, iOS, Android, Amazon, Kindle Fire. We've got apps for all of those. They are free, and we've got links to their app stores at skywatchtv.com/app. You follow 5 in 10 online. We're at YouTube at 5 in 10. Subscribe, share, click the bell for notifications, hit that like button. And you can also follow us on X, formerly Twitter, at 5_in_10. And thank you for watching as we keep watch. I'm Derek Gilbert. This is 5 in 10 from Skywatch TV.